Get too close. It's dark inside. It's where my demons hide. It's where my demons hide. Welcome back, everybody. Backstreet's back. Okay. And we're ready to do some X-Files reviews. Took a month-long hiatus. Went to see my sister in Virginia. Had a fucking blast. Fell in love with NBC show Hannibal, which I'm binge watching ATM. And it was just a fun time. A good break. I really needed it. I needed a artistic, creative break. But I'm back, ready to start doing X-Files reviews, ready to laugh, ready to have some fun. And today, you are in for a treat, because we are reviewing the Season 4 romp, Demons. I always get cracked up when people say how the show, when Duchovny left the show, The X-Files, how it went downhill. And the storyline started getting crappy. And then I watched an episode like Demons, and I'm like, no, it was always that way. Love the episode Demons. I've probably watched it 100 times. Every time I watch it, it's just a delight. It's one of those episodes like Young at Heart or Teso dos Vechos. Like, it's terrible, and that's why I love it. It's just dumb. And Demons is one of those episodes. It's stupid. A lot of it doesn't make any sense, and that's the reason I'm here for it. So let's get into it. Get out of here. There's a horsefly. It's horsefly season here in South Alabama, and we have donkeys, so that just compounds the problem. But I'd rather have my donkeys all year round and deal with horseflies once a year. So it's okay. So here we go. Let's do the episode Demons. Some fun trivia about this episode. This is the episode that started the whole "is smoking man Mulder's baby daddy" kerfuffle that this show became quasi-famous for. And you know what? Fuck this episode, because we could have lived without all of that. Like, I'm serious. And we'll get to the point in this review where this is not a joke. Like, we'll be talking about some very serious things. Content warning about this episode and about this review. We're going to be talking about suicide. We're going to be talking about sexual assaults and child abuse and just all the things. So take that into account. Another thing this episode has is bright flashing lights. So if that triggers you like it does me, you might want to go into this episode with care if you've never seen it before. There won't be any flashing lights in this review, I hope. Unless my chickens decide to have a rave, a spontaneous rave. But they probably won't. You can hear our roosters crowing their silly little heads off. And the hens will probably lay an egg at some point during this review, because this is their peak egg laying time. And they have to go crazy when that happens. So let's get into it. The episode begins. What's that vine where the person is sitting outside of a Target and the Target sign's flashing and they go, "Welcome to Target." That's what the opening sequence of this episode is. You see just these insane flashing lights. And Mulder has woken into a dream about his sister Samantha. Hey, twice in one season. Way to go, spooky boy. So let's break down Mulder's flashbacks of his sister. It happens, I think, for the first time in the episode Little Green Men. And he is a little boy. There is a child actor portraying young Mulder. And then in the episode Paper Hearts, Mulder is an adult during the flashbacks of his sister. And in this episode, you see Mulder as an adult wake up, but when he looks in the mirror, he's a child. I think that's clever, but I don't know the significance of it. But it's pretty cool imagery. I also want to point out how the show uses the same child actor for Samantha from season 2 until season 5. So in the same flashback scene, Samantha could either be 5, 8, or 13. But they always get a different child actor to portray young Mulder. So it doesn't even look like the same kid. Which I think is just it very much runs in the vein of shitty X-Files writing. Mulder wakes into this dream of his sister. He sees his sister and he says, "Samantha?" And just the hope and relief and joy in his voice, just, I don't like Mulder, but that just tears my heart out. Like, he keeps waking up into this dream where he finds her, and then he wakes up for real and she's not there. It's a lot like the movie Inception. This is a Mulderception, a spookyception, if you will. So anyway, in the dream, I'm going to be getting some bizarre hand cramps in this one because it's going to be a long one. This episode is brought to you by Ice Water. Cheers. I traded out my lapis lazuli mug for a quart mason jar of water because I'm thirsty, but not as thirsty as Dana Scully is in this episode. Am I right? We'll get there. So Mulder wakes into this dream of his sister. There's these bright, crazy flashing lights. And Samantha's like, "I'm scared, Fox." She's like, "I'm scared, Dad." He's like, "Do you trust me, son?" And she's like, "I'm scared." And he's like, "Come on, son." And then she falls and he doesn't catch her. And he's like, "Rule number 1, never trust anyone." If you watch Vines, you'll get that reference. So anyway, they see their parents, the Mulders, the married couple of the year, arguing downstairs, and Smoking Man is there. Young Smoking Man, played famously by Chris Owens, who would come back in season 5 and season 6 to play Jeffrey Spender, Smoking Man's son, and Mulder's half-brother. Hey. So Smoking Man's there. He's just puffing up a storm. He like looks at young Mulder and he says, "You're a little spy." And again, it always just blows my mind how Mulder, who's supposed to have this photographic memory and like this great memory, like does not remember the creepy chain-smoking man who was hitting on his mom, and does not even make a connection to the smoking man he knows as an adult, but, you know, go the fuck off. So, Mulder wakes up, and we have a beanoo, sweaty Duchovny alert. I think David Duchovny is sweatier in this episode than any other episode. He gets pretty sweaty in Pusher. Maybe this and Pusher are a two-way tie. It's also kind of cute that when David Duchovny attempts to do hardcore acting, he just gets really sweaty. I think that's hilarious. That's his acting method. Get sweaty, I guess. So he wakes up. He's sweaty as hell. He has this dress shirt on, and it's covered in blood. And Mulder looks at the blood on his shirt, and for a heartbeat, if you watch this episode very carefully, he just kind of looks off like, well, covered in someone else's blood again. I mean, this happens once a fucking week, right, for Mulder. Anyway, he calls Scully. It's 4:50 in the morning on a Sunday. I have so much to say about this, okay? He calls Scully, who I just want to remind everyone, and I'll be reminding you of this through multiple points in this review, how she has terminal stage 4 brain cancer. Okay, Mulder calls her on a Sunday morning at 4:50. He's covered in blood, and he doesn't know where the fuck he is or why he's there. His gun's also missing. So, you know, Scully just wanted to go out to lunch with her mom today and spend some time with her family, with probably the few months that she knows she has left. And this motherfucker is calling her up at 4:50 on a Sunday. Fuck you, Mulder. So people, a lot of people talk about how Mulder in the cancer arc, which is what we're in right now, season 4, when Scully is diagnosed with brain cancer, is the most understanding and supportive partner. even people that don't like Mulder will generally say that. They'll say, like, okay, in the cancer arc, Mulder was a pretty stand-up dude. And I'm going to be the one out there saying he's not. He's worse in the cancer arc. And I will make my statement in a minute. People talk about how, like, Never Again Mulder or Excelsius Day Mulder is, like, the worst iteration of his character. And I'm like, no, he's like this all the time. Like, when Mulder's decent, it's the exception. Okay. So he calls his partner, who I just want to remind you is dying of terminal cancer, up on a Sunday at 4:50 in the fucking morning. He asked her to haul her ass from Virginia to Rhode Island, where he is. Scully comes driving up, and I think through the majority of this episode, she's in her pajamas. She doesn't even change out of her pajamas. It is kind of cute how she bothers to put on makeup and earrings. That's kind of adorable. She gets to the motel room. Mulder's in the shower. Scully comes in, and I just want to break down this scene. Okay, so the latter half of season 4, Scully's just horny, okay? All she wants is to get laid by this himbo she works with. And, so she can die. Like, that's what she wants. That's all she wants. She says, I just want to get laid by this big stupid man before I die. That's all she wants. So she comes to the motel room. And she comes in. She does this cute little thing. Jillian does this a lot, where she taps on the bathroom door and she's like, Mulder, you okay? And it's like this little mom voice. It's very cute. And she's like, Mulder, you okay? So she comes. The mosquitoes are just terrible today, especially where I'm sitting. But this is like the only reliable shade in our yard. So please bear with me. So, she comes into the bathroom in Mulder's motel room. And he's in the shower, and he's got the hot water going, and he's shivering. And Scully tries very hard to go into doctor mode, okay? But you see her eyes flicker down to his crotch. And then she's like, I'll get you a towel, Mulder. She is left speechless by the sight of his dick, okay? She cannot function. She hands him a towel. She can't even look him in the eye now. As she's staring off into oblivion, remembering every tiny detail of his cock that she absorbed in the 15 seconds she looked at it. People always talk about Mulder's photographic memory, and they never talk about Scully's, okay? But damn, girl's got one. So, Scully goes into the next room to think about what she's just seen, and what she'll never have, what she thinks at this point she'll never have, because this idiot himbo can't get his ducks in a row and screw her. So, Mulder comes out. He's wrapped in a blanket. It's very cute. He's a Mulder burrito, or a Mulderito, if you will. He sits down. Scully makes him, like, track her finger and all this. She finds his shirt covered in blood. The look that comes over Scully's face is, sweet baby Jesus, I am dying of cancer, and I'm gonna have to cover up a murder for this motherfucker. Don't worry, Dana Scully. It won't be the only sketchy thing you'll have to do in this episode, baby. So, she finds Mulder's gun. 2 rounds have been fired. They also find the keys of someone named Amy. Mulder looks at Scully and he's like, are these your keys? Scully looks at him with this look and she's like, motherfucker, who is Amy? She's about to fucking jump Mulder's bones throughout this entire episode because homegirl's thirsty, just like me. And this is a great time to talk about our sponsor today. Water! Drink water. It's good for you. You need it to live. Oh, it's so good today, too. It is a very hot day today. But I had to sit outside because inside it's so fucking noisy. So, they find the keys of this woman named Amy Cassandra. Mulder comes out of the motel room and he has a boner. Okay, you don't believe me? get to the scene where Mulder walks out of the motel room in the episode Demons and pause it. He has a fucking boner. Someone also pointed out to me this week on Instagram that in the pilot, Mulder also has a boner. So Mulder's just like low-key perpetually had a boner throughout the series because he's in Dana Scully's zip code. And I say to that, same, spooky boy, same. So Mulder and his boner go back in the motel room. I love the way he turns, sticks his ass out in Scully's direction, and just glides up the steps with his ass hanging out in her direction. And Scully's like, hate to see him go, love to watch him leave. So Mulder and his bubble butt go back in the motel room. And they they track down the home of this woman, Amy Cassandra, whose keys were in Mulder's motel room, and they meet the housekeeper, who is low-key, actually high-key, my favorite character in this episode, possibly the series. So she's this short brunette woman. She's the Cassandra's housekeeper, because all the people Mulder knows and associate with are rich as fuck. She comes to the door. They say, do you know Amy Cassandra? And she's like, yes, this is her house. And they're like, who are you? And she's like, I'm the housekeeper. Who are you, motherfucker? This small woman looks like she's about to roundhouse kick 2 FBI agents. Scully senses the woman's tension and pulls out her badge because Scully can sense that this woman's going to claw their eyes out. And then Mulder sees a painting in the home, like he's looking past the woman's shoulder, and he sees this painting, and then he's like, hey, I need to look at that painting. These people don't have a warrant, okay? And this housekeeper is like, oh, she immediately changes, like her entire demeanor changes. She's like, yes, come in, look at my boss's amateur art gallery where she painted this one house over and over again. And I'm like, that is a weird choice. Like, what the fuck's going on with the housekeeper of the Cassandras? I want a whole series about her. Okay. So they go in the house and they find this painting. It's the same house, and Amy Cassandra has painted it over and over again. It turns out to be a creepy murder-suicide house, but the paintings of it are strangely calming. It reminds me a lot of Bob Ross, The Joy of Painting. There's one scene of Mulder like standing in front of one of these paintings, and I'm like, The Joy of Painting with Fox Mulder. If Mulder had a Bob Ross type painting show, I did write a fic where Mulder does become an amateur painter. And he quotes Bob Ross actually in it. I think if Mulder like became an amateur painter, that would be pretty cute. In the best world where Mulder becomes Scully's trophy husband / stay-at-home dad, I believe he becomes an amateur painter like George W. Bush. That's Mulder's one of those rich fucks that like kicks off in an early retirement and like becomes this bad painter. So they go to this house. It's in Quanticottag, which is Alabama has some weird ass names, okay? But I gotta say, Rhode Island has got us beat with the weird ass names. If anyone from Rhode Island is listening to this, I love you, but the names of your places are incredible and wonderful, and I salute you for that, okay? So, Mulder tells the housekeeper and Scully before they go to this place. He's like, yes, my parents had a house in Quanticottag, and then a house in Chilmar, and then a house in Martha's Vineyard. Because when you're fucking Fox Mulder, it's always a good day to remind everyone how many houses your family has. Because you're a rich bastard. And I love all these Mulder stans who are like, Mulder never acted like he came from money, and every opportunity he has to remind everyone how fucking rich his family is, but, go the fuck off. So, they go to this house. It has this very pretty, weeping willow tree in the backyard, and I had a weeping willow tree in my backyard when I was a kid, and you can have so much fun with a weeping willow tree. You can take the branches and like make baskets and ropes. You can swing from the branches. You can climb it. It makes a great fort when you're a kid. Anyway, yeah, just I guess life hack from before the days there were the internet and Nintendo Switches. Kids played under weeping willow trees, I guess. So they go in this house. It's very run down. It's been abandoned for a long time. And they find Amy Cassandra, and she's dead. And her husband's dead. And they offed each other in a murder-suicide pact. Mulder was there. Okay, he didn't kill anyone, but he very much abetted this murder-suicide. And I want you to put a little pin in that, because we'll get back to it. Don't you fucking worry. So, Scully looks at Mulder, this long look, and she really looks like she's gonna jump him right there. Scully's like, look, I'm gonna get laid by this spooky boy one way or the other before I die. And if I have to do it in a creepy Bob Ross murder-suicide house, I'm gonna do it. So, then Mulder has one of his first seizures in this episode. And he passes out, and he sees again these flashbacks of his sister with these crazy, insane rave lights. Again, welcome to Target. Welcome to Quanticatog. So, and again, he's like having these visions of the smoking man, the younger smoking man, being very creepy and inappropriate with Mulder's mom, Teena. We're going to talk about that. Don't you fucking worry. Mulder comes to. He's lying on the grass in front of this creepy murder-suicide house. And his heart's racing, and Scully's on top of him. And boy, Scully wishes that Mulder was lying in the grass with his heart pounding and her on top of him for another reason. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? So this begins the rest of Scully's story arc in this episode, where she's just trying to get Mulder to a hospital. Now, a couple things. Dana Scully, when she becomes a stand-up comedian, her stand-up monologue is, hey ladies, some men would rather get done up on horse tranquilizer, get holes drilled in their heads, and enter their partner into a murder-suicide pact than go to the hospital. Am I right, ladies? Another thing is, why doesn't Scully just incapacitate Mulder like she did in Anasazi? Just shoot him in the fucking shoulder and get him to the hospital, girl. Because he's a harm to himself and everyone else around him, as she points out. Shoot him in the shoulder, Dana Scully. Haul him in your car like you did in Anasazi and drive his ass to a hospital, okay? So, this detective comes out. And he's a dickhead. This detective, the detective in Elegy and the detective in A Christmas Carol, could all be brothers. They all look alike. I can't explain it. It's just there. Every time I watch those 3 episodes, I get them mixed up. They just look that much alike. They could be triplets. So, generic dickhead detective is very sus of Mulder, as he should be. Mulder abetted a murder-suicide. At the least. Put a pin in that. We'll get back to it. So, they take Mulder to the police station, and they're questioning him. The detective comes in with a paper bag. Mulder keeps asking, "What's in the bag? What's in the bag?" It's very Seven. Brad Pitt asking, "What's in the box?" The detective never breaks eye contact with Mulder, and it's kind of erotic. But yeah, if I saw 1997 David Duchovny with his shirt sleeves rolled up, I would also look at him that way. So extremely valid, dude. So Mulder pulls out what's in the bag, and it's his shirt that's covered in Amy Cassandra and David Cassandra, her husband's, blood. So the detective starts reading Mulder his rights, and you think the scene's gonna fade out. But no, like the detective keeps reading Mulder his rights, his Miranda rights, and Mulder just leans his head back and takes a fucking nap. Well, this detective's reading him his Miranda rights, and all I'm going to say is hashtag white male privilege, right? Oh, only a straight white man would take a fucking nap while someone's reading him his Miranda rights, right? The detective also says he's telling Mulder, like, so you're saying you passed out and like partied with some senior citizens, and then there was a murder-suicide pact. And he's like, is that the story you're sticking with? And Mulder's like, yes, for now. And again, I say, hashtag white male privilege. Only a straight white man would say that, okay? There's no fucking way anyone else would get away with that kind of shit with the cops. So, Mulder, Scully comes up, and she's like, Mulder, I'm going to get you out of here. I just want, again, it's time for your reminder that she's dying of terminal cancer, and she has to do this shit for Mulder, who has to make every fucking thing about himself, right? Someone on Twitter said they got really pissy at me. I do these like rewatch threads on Twitter to kind of get my thoughts in order. They got really pissy with me and said, Mulder did this. You know, he was choosing every avenue to try to find a cure for Scully's cancer. And I'm like, so he got holes drilled in his head by Vincent Price and done up on horse tranquilizer to find a cure for Scully's cancer. Is that what you're saying? And then I thought, okay, maybe I'm not looking into this deeply enough. Maybe that is a reason. But no, at the end of the episode, when Mulder has a gun pointed at Scully's temples, she's like, okay, Mulder, so you'll shoot me because this is important to you. And Mulder's like, yeah, I'll shoot you, Scully, because I want to pursue this. And I'm like, oh, but he cares so much for her. He's doing this to find a cure for her? No, Mulder's doing this for his shallow little quest for validation. That's what he's doing, okay? But go off, Queen, please. So he makes a really cute Star Trek joke to Scully, and he's like, you're a doctor, not a lawyer, Scully. And that's what Bones in Star Trek says. I love Bones, okay? I am the chief Bones defender. He's my boy. And Scully and Bones are a lot alike. They're very, very good boy and girl. Love that king and queen. So, I love this. Is there any crossover fix where, the original cast of Star Trek, Bones and Kirk and, Uhura and, Zulu, is it Zulu? I think so. Yeah. Where they get together with Mulder and Scully. That'd be pretty rad. I'd read that. Do y'all remember the 90s Star Wars movie where Captain Kirk met Jean-Luc Picard and they rode horses and it was really weird? That would be an awesome like crossover with the X-Files. I'd like to see that. That'd be pretty cool. So, then the, Scully's like, I'm going to get you out of here, Mulder, because, you know, it's not like I have fucking terminal cancer or anything and have a few months of my life left to live. I also have to clear your fucking name. And that's it. Like, Scully does all the fucking work to clear Mulder's name through this episode. She does all the fucking work to, like, bring this quack doctor to justice. She does all the fucking work to save Mulder's ass and her own. And it just pisses me right off. I mean, where are people getting that Cancer Arc Mulder is so kind and considerate? He's worse than he usually is. So, like, yeah, I'm going to say the Cancer Arc is Mulder's shitty friend era. I mean, I know Mulder is always a shitty friend and a bad FBI partner and just a bad partner in general to Scully, but god damn, the last half of season 4, he is a piece of trash, okay? And look, him bringing flowers to her in Memento Mori is not going to change that, okay? Like, yeah, Mulder does one cute thing in the Cancer Arc, and people are like, he's the most considerate partner, and they just forget about the time he roped Scully into a murder-suicide pact while she was having stage 4 brain cancer. Anyway, Scully does an autopsy on Amy Cassandra, and she finds a little hole in her head. Did anybody say there's a hole in my head? There's a hole in my head, but we all just hum along. I love that song. So she does this autopsy. The pathologist helping her is Agent Weiss from Colony in season 2. He's the FBI agent who's killed by the alien bounty hunter. So, cool, I guess. You know what? I like Agent Weiss. He was a good dude. You know what I'm going to say? Agent Weiss faked his death and became a pathologist. And Scully was a bro and kept his identity secret. So that's what I'm saying. Because no one truly dies in the X-Files, sparkle emoji, except for every interesting woman character, right? So then Scully's doing this autopsy on Amy Cassandra. I also want to point out how everyone talks about how this show names every fucking person William, but they never talk about how 2 characters that no one believes in the show, they name Cassandra, which is so dumb. So she's doing this autopsy on Amy Cassandra. She finds this hole in her head. She finds out she's been done up on ketamine, aka horse tranquilizer, and had this drilled in her head. She has Waxman-Gessman's syndrome. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that wrong. Just go off on the comments. It's okay. I'm bad at pronouncing things. All right. I'm gay and I'm bad at pronouncing things. And this is making her have these vivid hallucinations of the past ? Because it's made very clear in the episode that these hallucinations these people are having, Mulder included, are not necessarily true. And I want you to remember that as we go further. So, Scully gets Mulder's arraignment. Go, Scully. Give her a fucking award. I mean, Jesus Christ. And he keeps telling her in this episode, he's like, Scully, you don't have to do this. Scully, you don't have to do this. And Mulder does this throughout the series where he tells Scully, like, you don't have to follow me, Scully. And then he's just looking over his shoulder for her because he knows Scully isn't going to let him go off and do this batshit dangerous stuff and get killed. He would absolutely die if she was not there. So he's going to manipulate her with this shit. Like, when I say Cancer Arc Mulder pisses me off more than any other Mulder, this is what I mean. Like, this woman's dying, and Mulder's still expecting her to follow him to hell and back. Like, it's very much Mulder in Fight the Future, where he's telling Scully, like, go off, Scully, be a doctor, get as far away from me as you can. But he knows, because of Scully's low self-esteem and these issues she has with pleasing male figures in her life, she's going to come back to him and follow him into these dangerous situations. And now he's doing that, and it's just compounded with her terminal illness, which he knows she has. At this point, Scully and Mulder both know she probably only has a few months to live. Mulder could have made Scully the happiest person on the planet. He could have railed her. He could have married her. He could have made her so happy. But instead he's pulling this shit. Fuck you, Mulder. I cannot stand him in this episode, okay? So, man, I'm seriously gonna drink this whole fucking quart of water. Thunder, you want to come up here? Kitty, 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 kitty. Thunder's like, man, it's too hot to cuddle. And I'm like, same dude. Yeah, it is too hot to cuddle. Like, I told my spouse that this morning. I'm like, man, it's too hot to cuddle. I'm just kidding. It's never too hot to cuddle. I love cuddling. I'm a cuddle bug. So, the Scully gets Mulder's arraignment, and they go to see goddamn Dr. Goldstein. So the podcast Fox Mulder is a Maniac. Not a sponsor, but they're amazing. Give them a listen. They pointed out how Dr. Goldstein looks and sounds like Vincent Price, and I swear to you, I cannot unsee it now. He even talks like Vincent Price, and the role he plays as this dangerous quack doctor, who frankly belongs on an episode of the NBC series Hannibal, is a role Vincent Price I think would play very well. If you've never listened to Fox Mulder is a Maniac's episode on the episode Demons, give it a listen. It's really good. And I'm not going to repeat what they say in that episode because they do it so much better than I could. So just give them a listen. They're not a sponsor, but they're amazing. So, they go see Dr. Goldstein, and, they talk to him. They know he's bullshitting them. He's like, oh, I've never seen Fox Mulder before in my life. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Scully stares this old man down, and she says, I know what you do. And the old man gets this look on his face, and he's like, oh shit, this tiny woman's gonna beat me up, isn't she? And she does. So, they leave, they find Mulder's car. This episode is just the movie Dude, Where's My Car? With, aliens and Smoking Man. Like, that's what it is. So they say, dude, where's Mulder's car? And they find it. It's been sitting there for a while. Mulder's like, I'm gonna drive, to see my mom in Connecticut. And Scully's like, the fuck you are, man. So Scully drives his ass to Connecticut to see his mom. Prior to that, Mulder has this hallucination with these weird rave lights. And it flashes off from Scully's face in IRL to his mom's face in this hallucination he's having of the past. And it's just really ick. Like, it makes me feel like I need a shower. Like, it's very incesty vibes. I don't like that very much at all. So, in the flashback, Mulder sees the Smoking Man, like, grabbing his mom, being very nasty and rapey with her. He sees that. And Mulder is believing wholeheartedly in these hallucinations. He goes to see his mom. Let's break down this scene. Teena Mulder looks out her curtains. She's so happy to see her son. She opens her arms to embrace him, and he just fucking walks past her. She immediately turns to Scully and says, what's the matter with him? Now, this gives us an interesting clue. Teena and Scully have met before. They met at Bill Mulder's funeral. May he not rest in peace. Hate that guy, right? So she turns to Scully and says, what's the matter with my son? That means Teena knows Scully well enough and trusts her enough to turn to her immediately and ask her this question. I would have loved to have seen the relationship between Teena and Scully explored. But of course, this show acts like the world will implode if they give woman characters meaningful relationships, right? But God, that's amazing. So Mulder's like, I need to talk to you alone, which pisses me all the way off. I'm like, okay, Mulder, who drove your ass here? Who got you an arraignment and protected you and cleared your name? It was Dana Catherine Scully. Fuck you, dude. And he's like, oh, but I can't trust her to listen to this. I'm like, fuck you, man. Anyway, he goes with Teena into, like, the sunroom. I don't know what the fuck rich people have in their houses. I've never been in one. So, I'm not a rich person. So, they go in like this front room and he's talking to her and he just immediately jumps on her and he's like, you were having an affair with Smoking Man. You were cheating on my dad. Who's my father? He's being a turd. And remember, Mulder believes wholeheartedly in these hallucinations where Smoking Man was being extremely rapey with his mom. I believe that Smoking Man had a non-consensual relationship with Teena Mulder. Like, he coerced her into that, and you will not change my mind. Okay? Everything about her body language, everything about her exchanges with Smoking Man is that. Like, she was coerced into this relationship. She was abused by her husband, another thing Mulder sees in the flashback, and forced to give up her child. And then her son strolls in there and starts blaming her for it. But you know what Fox Mulder loves to do is victim blame, and he fucking does it here. His Mulder, excuse me, I'm very angry. Yeah, his Teena Mulder, his mother Mulder, slaps the shit out of him. And I am not for child abuse. Okay, I'm not for it. I'm not for child abuse. But Mulder's a grown-ass man, and that he needed that bitch slap. Okay, I'm just gonna say, I was like, yes, Teena, slap him again for me, baby. Do it again. She slaps the fuck out of him. And she's like, look, I'm your mom, and I'm not gonna listen to this shit. So then his head starts bleeding. His mom goes up the stairs angrily, and Scully's standing awkwardly in the foyer of the house. And she sees Teena like rage quit upstairs. Boy, it's hot as hell today. She sees Teena like rage quit and go upstairs. And then she goes back into the front room to find Mulder, and he's gone. He stranded Scully at his angry mom's house. At this point, Scully should have left him. She should have been like, okay, Teena, I need you to call me a cab to drive me back to my apartment in Georgetown. I am never speaking to this motherfucker again. Like, she should have left his ass there, okay? Also, can I get all the fics where Scully has that awkward conversation with Teena and she's like, Miss Mulder, your son left me here. I need to borrow your car if you don't mind. And they have this very nice heart-to-heart, where Teena's like, look, I know what he's like, baby, okay? And then Scully's just like sobbing on Teena's shoulders. She's like, I only have a few months left to live and this stupid himbo won't fuck me. And Teena's like patting her. She's like, there, baby, there. So, I think Teena and Scully had a pretty good relationship. Again, like, I'd love to see that explored, where Scully like becomes a surrogate daughter to Teena. That would be pretty awesome. I think they could help each other. I really do. I'm gonna write I'm working on a fic where I'm rewriting seasons 7 through 8 of the X-Files because they fuck me. Excuse me. They frankly suck. So I'm rewriting it. Because I'm difficult that way. So anyway, Scully borrows Teena's car? Question mark? Probably. And tracks Mulder's ass to his parents' house in Quanticottag, because, you know, Mulder loves to remind everyone how many houses his rich as fuck family has. Not before she tracks down Dr. Goldstein and beats his ass. So the detective is one of the 3 triplets in the Elegy, Demons, and A Christmas Carol detective universe. He tells Scully, like, oh, Dr. Goldstein won't talk to me. And you see the cop car driving off with Dr. Goldstein. He's staring pensively back at Scully, and he gets this look on his face like, yes, I am escaping. Scully runs down that fucking cop car like Linda Carter as Wonder Woman. She's like, stop this fucking car. She runs that car down like a pit bull, yanks the door open, and grabs that old man. And she's like, you're going to tell me where my spooky boy is, okay? So he tells her, like, he's gone to exorcise his demons. there's no demons and no aliens in this episode, and that makes me sad. It also makes me think of the Vine, where the guy, I think it's from BuzzFeed Unsolved, where the guy comes in the haunted house and he's like, "Hey, demons, it's me, ya boy." That's the title to this episode. It's like, "Hey, demons, it's a Mulder, ya boy." So Scully goes to the Mulder house in Quanticottag, one of the Mulder houses. And Mulder's there with a gun. And he enters Scully into this murder-suicide pact. Another great title for this review would be, It has been 0 days since Mulder had a murder-suicide pact. Because it's cute. Mulder has to draw Scully into a murder-suicide pact like once a season. Jesus Christ. This woman asked him for his sperm. What is wrong with you, Dana Scully? So, he like shoots, and it's like in Pusher where like, oh, did he shoot Scully? Oh my god. And he didn't. He shot the wall behind her. But still, fuck you, Mulder. This woman has terminal cancer. Fuck you. And then the last scene is Scully, like, peak depression Scully fighting her computer. Fuck me. Typing on her computer, and she's like, yeah, this quest is going to destroy Mulder, but it's also destroyed your life, Scully. So, we're going to end on that cheerful note. Also, I just want to say, happy Pride. I got my Pride scarf on. I want to do a very special Pride episode of our X-Files reviews. I want to review a super gay, super sapphic episode of the X-Files. Might get to, might not get to. It might go over into July, but the spirit of Pride will be with us for the whole year round. So happy Pride to all of my LGBTQ plus brothers and sisters, to all my trans and non-binary siblings. I love you. I support you, especially to the trans kids out there. You're valid. You're loved. You're wonderful. This path that life's put you on is valid and good. And I just want to give you all a hug. I went through a really hard time when I was a kid, growing up gay in the South of the 80s and 90s, and things are still hard for my LGBTQ plus siblings, but I think things are getting better, and I'm looking at that hopefully. I want it to be a better world for my daughter to grow up in, and I'm fighting every day for it to be. So if you are a LGBTQ plus person, I love you. You're great. I want to give you all a high five. I want to give you all a hug. If you're a hugger, if you're not, fist bump or friendly wave. Hey, happy Pride. And I'm glad to be saying that. Follow me on Twitter. I am at raccoons_dead. Follow me on Tumblr. I am at Just Awful X-Men Art. I just posted some pretty great Pride art on Tumblr. Check it out. It's Warrior Cats art, but it's still great. Check me out on Instagram. I am at Dead Raccoons Draws It, or leave a comment here. I am also on DeviantArt. I am at Dead/Raccoons. I love you all. I will see you all. Have a happy Pride. Mwah! Watch out for demons.